Hey guys, it's Paul Myers, licensed counselor, owner and lead therapist of Intentional Counseling. I'm going to cover today an identity exercise that I have done with thousands of my clients, and I've seen really good results with this. It's something you can do in your own time if you want to do this exercise yourself to gain some awareness about yourself, your identity, your personal framework of yourself, okay? So it's a bit of an intensive exercise. So it's if you do it properly, it should be pretty provoking and challenging, and it'll probably produce a lot of emotions. So if you are going to do it, make sure you have somebody, either a therapist to talk to or a close family member or friend to kind of help process through some of the feelings that it brings up. So let's go over it. So what it is, it's like imagine here that we have this board room. So this is our round table, okay? And on the round table we have different chairs that have different levels of power. So we have the chair 1, which is your highest level of influence, okay? Then you have second tier chairs, which is very influential, just not as influential as the first chair. Then you have third level of influence, fourth level of influence, and influential, but the least amount of influence compared to everything else on the table. So you can put as many chairs as you like on yours. There's no rules about how many chairs should or should not be. Everyone's different, but I find this is pretty common. So we have chair 1 could be, typically it's a parent for most people, but not always. It could be anything that can go in these slots. Really just depends on the individual. So it could be a person, it could be an experience you had, a relationship. Sometimes it's culture or a teacher or whatever, right? So that it could be a lot of any noun really. And you want to put things on here that influence you. So this is the round table of self. Okay? So when I'm looking at my identity, it really, what it is it's who makes the rules? Who influenced me? Who am I and why am I that way? Well, if we look at a position of power, let's say this person is a parent or a mother or a father, right? And then what you would do with each person, you would really think about it, and then you would put inside the circle whether the influence was positive or negative. Sometimes it's both, and then you place what that person taught you about yourself. So let's say you had like a really critical parent that was all negative, and it really taught you that you weren't good enough or something like that. Or if you had a really positive parent that really built you up and you felt valued, or both, right? As an example. Other examples could be your faith. So huge positive. Another one would be maybe a teacher you had, right? Or a specific relationship you had, or maybe a mentor, or maybe you had some kind of traumatic event of some kind, or maybe the school that you were in at the time, or a bully. These could be negative influences or positive influences. You can just base it off, if you're being honest with yourself and authentic with yourself, you can base it off, well, how much really did that influence me? How much did that really impact me? And you can kind of get a feel for yourself and think about which ones are more powerful. Okay? The goal of the exercise is to be honest with yourself, be authentic. You do it alone. Nobody has to see it. If it's for you, the goal is to get the benefit for yourself as much as possible. So typically, what I'll do, I'll assign this to my clients, and we will, they'll create their I call it a round table exercise, and they'll put their answers in, and then we'll review it together, and we'll go over it. And what it does is it really sparks up a lot of feelings and good content to process through and work through. And sometimes there'll need to be some restructuring that needs to be done. Like for example, let's say that this was my client, and they had a very destructive, maybe an abusive childhood, so very negative influence here. Maybe they had a really powerful romantic relationship that was very negative. Maybe that was abusive, right? Faith being very positive, right? Maybe they had a positive teacher, maybe a positive mentor, right? But you've got these really key, potent negative influences that are sitting in the highest chairs of power over them, okay? So what we do is we would go over all that, we would process through all that, and then what I'd ask my client to do is take this and restructure it. So if this is a boardroom and it's your business, you're the owner of the company, shouldn't you have a say in your own life, right? So we come in and you imagine you're walking into a boardroom, everyone's sitting around the table, and you just kind of fire the people that are really negative. So this person would be fired, so you get them off of your table along with this. Just fire these negative influences, fire that person, bully, right? Okay? And then you do some shifting. Maybe I want to put faith here, being probably a pretty good thing to put in the first, I usually put God in the first seat. It's a really ideal answer. Maybe a positive parent. Maybe the other parent that had a good influence on them, right? Or that mentor, maybe they may promote the mentor up, okay? And you just kind of move some things around, okay? And there may be even some room for some extra things to put on there. And you really kind of rebrand and redefine self, trying to eliminate negative sources and replacing them with positive, right? So an ideal identity would be pretty much positive across the board, right? And that's how you want to define yourself. So it's based off positive, right? Positive influences. So hopefully that helps. Very provoking, challenging exercise for a lot of people, but very, very positive, and I see really good results for the people that take it seriously, that get a lot out of it, okay? So hopefully that helps you. Feel free to do that on your own. Just, like I said, make sure you have some support if you're going to do this exercise. Sometimes it triggers your childhood memories or some trauma if you have any negative experiences. So keep that in mind. Sometimes it could be a little worse before it gets better if you're doing some mental health work, because it really sparks all those emotions that you have from negative events. So if you don't have a therapist, go to intentional-counseling.com. Either myself or a trained therapist at our practice would be happy to help you, and either virtually or in person if you live in Texas. And we're in the Frisco area. Leave comments below if you have any questions, concerns, or maybe there's something you'd like for us to cover. Let us know and we'll be happy to produce that for you. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by. Take care.